Stop doing these 10 money mistakes in 2026. They are destroying you. Full YouTube script. Long-form narration. Let me ask you something that nobody in your life is brave enough to ask you. You're not broke. You make decent money. You pay your bills. You're not in some financial disaster movie where the power gets cut off and you're eating instant noodles by candlelight. But somehow, at the end of every month, you look at your bank account and feel this low, quiet dread. Like the numbers don't add up. Like no matter how hard you work, you're somehow always just here, stuck, hovering right above financial disaster, but never actually building anything real. And the worst part? You can't even explain it, because on paper, you should be fine. But you're not fine. And deep down, you know it. That feeling you're carrying right now, it's not an accident. It's not laziness. It's not some personal failure. It's the result of a very specific set of money behaviors that modern life has quietly normalized. Habits so embedded in how we all live that most people don't even recognize them as mistakes. They just feel like life. And in 2026, these mistakes are more dangerous than they've ever been. Because the economy isn't forgiving anymore. The gap between people who figure this out and people who don't, it's not closing, it's widening. Fast. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 10 of the most destructive money mistakes people are making right now. Not the obvious stuff, not stop buying coffee. The real ones. The ones that are quietly eroding your financial future while you scroll, swipe, and convince yourself you're doing okay. Stay with me until the end, because the last few mistakes on this list are the ones that almost nobody talks about. And they might be the most important thing you hear all year. Mistake number 1. Mistaking busyness for financial progress. Here's a painful truth that took me a long time to understand. Working harder is not the same as building wealth. Staying busy is not the same as moving forward. And earning more money is absolutely not the same as keeping more money. Most people operate under this invisible assumption that if they just grind harder, one more project, one more side hustle, one more promotion, the financial stress will eventually go away. And so they stay busy, constantly busy, exhausted, always on, perpetually behind the screen busy. But here's what's actually happening while you're busy. Your expenses quietly expand to meet your income. A little lifestyle upgrade here, a slightly nicer apartment there. The streaming services multiply. The subscriptions auto-renew. The "I deserve this" purchases stack up because honestly, you do work hard. You're not wrong about that. The problem is, busyness without financial intention is just an expensive treadmill. You're running, you're sweating, you feel like you're moving, but the ground underneath you is also moving, and not in your direction. In 2026, the cost of everything has shifted enough that the old math doesn't work anymore. Working a little harder and hoping your bank account grows on its own? That's not a strategy. That's wishful thinking with a work ethic attached to it. The people building actual financial security right now, they're not necessarily working harder than you. They're working with direction. Every dollar has a destination before it lands in their account. Every income increase triggers a savings increase, not a lifestyle increase. They're not doing more, they're doing it differently. The first step out of the busyness trap isn't working less. It's stopping long enough to actually look at where your money goes. Not a vague mental estimate, a real look. Most people who do this for the first time are genuinely shocked. Mistake number 2, living in financial denial. There's a very specific kind of lie we tell ourselves about money It goes like this. I'll deal with it later. Things will be better next month. I just need to get through this period, and then I'll get serious about it. Later, next month, after this project, after the holidays, after summer, after the new year. Sound familiar? This is financial denial, and it's one of the most expensive psychological habits a person can have. Because every month you delay getting honest about your financial situation, compounding interest is working against you, not for you. Every month you avoid looking at your debt, it grows quietly in the background. Every month you spend without a plan, you're making the hole a little deeper. And here's the psychological part that makes this so hard to break. Our brains are genuinely wired to avoid financial discomfort. Looking at a scary bank balance activates the same stress response as a physical threat. So the brain does what it always does with threats. It avoids them. You put the banking app on page 3 of your phone. You forget to check the credit card statement. You tell yourself you already know it's bad, so looking won't help. But not looking doesn't make the problem smaller. It makes it worse. And it makes you feel worse. Because beneath all the avoidance is this constant low-level anxiety that never fully goes away. You're carrying the weight of a financial situation you refuse to look at directly. That's exhausting. The relief, the actual physical relief that people feel when they finally open every account, add up every number, and just see the truth? It's remarkable. Because the anxiety of knowing is almost always better than the anxiety of not knowing. The situation doesn't change when you look at it, but you can only fix something you're willing to see. Mistake number 3, subscription creep, the silent account drain. Okay, I want you to do something right now that might genuinely surprise you. Just try, to name every subscription you're currently paying for. Netflix. Okay. Spotify. Sure. Maybe a gym. Maybe Amazon Prime. Maybe a cloud storage plan. Maybe a news site you signed up for during an election cycle and forgot to cancel. Maybe an app you used twice in 2024. Maybe a meal kit service that you paused but didn't cancel. Maybe a software tool you needed for one project. The average person in 2026 is paying for somewhere between 8 and 12 recurring subscriptions, and they can accurately name about 4 of them. The rest? They're just quietly pulling money out of your account every month, like a very polite financial parasite. You consented to it once, years ago, and now it just continues, forever, until you cancel it. And canceling requires going through a confusing process that the company specifically designed to be annoying enough that most people don't bother. This isn't an accident. The subscription economy is built on one core psychological insight. Humans are terrible at canceling things they're not using. We overestimate how often we'll use something when we sign up, and then we feel vaguely guilty about canceling something we paid for, even when we're not using it. So we keep paying. Across 12 months, subscription creep can easily cost a person $2, $3, sometimes $4,000, money that left your account so quietly you never even registered it as spending. Go audit your subscriptions this week. Not someday, this week. Set a timer for 20 minutes, go through your bank statements, and cancel everything you can't remember actively using in the last 30 days. You will find money you forgot existed. Mistake number 4. Borrowing from your future self. I want to tell you about one of the most psychologically destructive money habits of the modern age. And it doesn't even feel like a mistake when you're doing it. It feels like a solution. You need something now. You don't quite have the money for it now, but you'll have money later. So you put it on the card, take out the loan, do the buy now, pay later thing, and you tell yourself, future me will handle it. future you. This mythological, more financially stable version of yourself who will definitely be in a better position to pay this off. Here's the thing about future you. Future you has future problems. Future you has future unexpected expenses. Future you has future car repairs and future medical bills and future moments where life does what life does. And future you also has to deal with the debt that current you just created, plus interest. Every time you borrow from your future self, you're making your own financial future harder. You're transferring a burden forward in time and adding a fee for the privilege. And when future you eventually becomes present you realize you're no better positioned to pay it off than you were, and now you're also paying interest. The real danger isn't one loan or one credit card. It's the pattern. It's the mental habit of treating credit as a solution to a cash flow problem, rather than addressing the actual gap between income and expenses. In 2026, with interest rates and credit card APRs where they are, carrying a revolving balance isn't just uncomfortable, it's mathematically brutal. If you're carrying $5,000 in credit card debt at a 24% interest rate and making minimum payments, you're going to spend years paying it off and thousands of dollars in interest you'll never see again. The habit of borrowing from your future self is one of the primary reasons otherwise smart, hardworking people feel financially stuck for years. Because you're not just spending money you don't have, you're spending energy and opportunity that hasn't happened yet. Mistake number 5. Trying to look wealthy instead of becoming wealthy. This one is hard to hear because the culture makes it genuinely difficult to see this clearly. There's a version of financial life that looks incredible from the outside and is quietly disintegrating from the inside. The new car with the long lease, the apartment in the right neighborhood that eats 45% of your take-home pay, the vacations posted to Instagram that were funded by credit cards that won't be paid off for months, the wardrobe, the watches, the weekend brunches that signal a certain level of financial arrival, while the savings account sits at a few $100s and anxiety about the future never quite goes away. We've built an entire social infrastructure around performing wealth, and social media made it 1,000 times more powerful. Here's the psychological mechanism that makes this so dangerous. We're social creatures. Status matters to us on a deep evolutionary level. And in the absence of real financial security, the appearance of financial security gives us a temporary emotional hit that feels like the real thing. It reduces social anxiety. It earns approval. It creates a version of belonging. Counterintuitive at some point, they stop performing. They drive the older car longer. They don't post the vacation. They quietly increase their investments instead of their lifestyle. And they feel a strange, private kind of confidence that has nothing to do with what anyone else thinks of them. Real wealth is mostly invisible. Because real wealth is options, freedom, and time. And none of those things photograph well. But you can't retire on Instagram likes. You can't cover a medical emergency with the status value of your apartment. The appearance of wealth and the reality of wealth are not the same thing. And in 2026, the gap between them is becoming increasingly visible. The people I've seen genuinely shift their financial trajectory all tend to do something.